Welcome to Powered by Her, exploring the stories of how area women power their business. Hear from the growing network of female entrepreneurs of the Upper Cumberland with your host, Tiffany Anton, director at the Biz Foundry. Powered by Her starts now.
Hello, you're listening to Powered by Her in the Hints and Oakley Podcast Center. I'm Tiffany Anton, Director of Outreach and Engagement at the Biz Foundry, and I have Abby Johnson in today. Hi, Abby.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? So you are my furthest guest so far to be in the Hints and Oakley Podcast Center. From where?
From Nashville.
All the way from Nashville to little Cookeville, Tennessee. I'm pretty excited to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here.
So what your company is called To Have and To Hold.
Yes, To Have and To Hold, yep.
And what do you do?
So we do custom written and recorded wedding songs. And that's the long and short of it. We're kind of beginning to blossom into more and more experiences, which I can't wait to go over with you. But yeah, we do custom written wedding songs.
I have never even heard that this is a thing, but I don't live in Nashville.
Yeah, well, it's a thing. Like if you were to Google, custom wedding songs or even custom songs for that matter, there's different companies out there that do that, and they may have really nice websites I see, or, maybe offer this or offer that. But I feel like in my heart, being able to have the advantage of like being in Nashville, doing music for as long as I've been able to do it, our standard and our ear is just different, maybe, if that's like a nicer way to put it.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing the difference in the end product, which is the song. That's the most important thing.
So this is a big, this is a thing. People, this is a common thing in the wedding world that people are doing these days.
I wouldn't say it's common at all.
Okay.
But I just want to put this out there. I'm not the first person to come up with this idea, but it is a whole new experience to offer as a part of somebody's wedding. Being able to say, we want to take our love story. We want to take some of Nashville's best. We want to make it a keepsake, not just for ourselves, but to give out to other people. It's really neat. I can't wait to share more with you.
So what made you decide? Okay, let's back it up. So what have you done? We talked briefly that you're not as young as you might look. So what have you done in the past 10, 15 years of work-wise?
Well, I've been in Nashville on and off since 2002. In my earlier days, I did the whole artist hat. And, for me, I'm really glad because I feel now that I know myself better that it wasn't necessarily part of who I was supposed to be, but I learned a lot from going through that whole experience. So after I decided, hey, I really am happier in the background, helping other people more, writing, being a vocalist in the studio, all these different other types of avenues that I've learned make me happier. That's kind of where I'm at and what I've been doing in Nashville for a really long time.
So
now.
Were you just playing at random bars in Nashville, kind of the tip jar on the counter kind of thing? And
well, some people get their start that way. I never really did a lot of covers when I was doing the artist thing. I really focus more on original music with maybe 2 or 3 covers woven in. Mm-hmm. It's always been my heart to be as original as possible and be as excellent in that as possible, even in my artist days, way back when. And I really think that carries over to what I do now and why I want to do it. I don't want people's weddings to be predictable. There's a cliche around wedding music that it's sadly kind of cheesy, or, there's nothing wrong with playing it safe and being traditional. But for me, it's people want more of an experience in everything they're being a part of. And especially weddings, people want the next exciting thing. And I just want to be able to offer that.
So how do you even get the thought of writing a song? To me sounds horrible and just something that I couldn't even fathom doing. How do you get inspiration to do that? How do you find the skills?
It comes from listening to other people's stories first and foremost, always for me. And then really drawing upon maybe some things that I can relate to in that, taking some pieces of their puzzle and making myself vulnerable as well.
So let's say somebody wants to have you write a wedding song. What's the process? How does that start?
We try to keep it down to 3 easy steps. Just overall, we like to say contact, connect, and create. So really all they have to do is hop on our website to havingtoholdsongs.com, contact us through the contact form. We'll figure out a time to just either do like an email or quick phone conversation so I can get to understand like, hey, what's their dream? What's their vision of how they want to use this song? What packages are they thinking? Like, let's just get to know each other. So contact and then connect. We do that free consult to really get an idea of how this is going to shape up. And then that's really the hardest part. Like after that, you really, depending on the package, and you'll get it. We get to start creating for you. I get to be like the mother hen of pulling together from this massive pool that is Nashville, Tennessee, of like this mecca of music. That's what it is. And it's really every genre too, which is amazing to me that people don't know that yet. But I've always known that since like I've been here. But again, if you don't live here, you don't know. So that's when I start pulling together everything from who will write it, who will sing it, what studio are we going to use, what musicians are going to be a part of it, who's going to produce it. In other words, like it's not just me or like just one artist or whatever in their living room, like making a song in 5 minutes. It's so much more than that.
So, but you are the owner of the company. You started this company.
Yes.
So you are the chairman of the operation, if you will.
Yeah.
So you kind of have all the moving pieces and bring all the people together. Mm-hmm. So you have a background in music, but how do you have where do you draw from to manage all these people and task force related things?
Relationships, experience.
Just because you've been around the area for so long.
Yeah, I'm really, really lucky.
It's funny because I think here in the Upper Cumberland, I'm like, oh yeah, we have so many connections. It's a small area. No, you can never do that in Nashville because it's Nashville. But I mean, if you're there long enough, you can kind of meet the people and make the connections, I guess.
You can. I mean, if you go to our website, and it's like weird for us people who have been in Nashville, like, for me, I'm a pretty humble person. I hate to do that whole like kind of like name drop thing. So I'll just kind of like let our website speak for itself. But I mean, there's opportunities to work with some really, really incredible musicians and producers. I mean, these people have worked with big names that almost anybody would recognize. So that's exciting. So what do you think your personal strengths have been that have led you to decide, I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to do my own business. I'm going to help other people. Because being an artist, you really were kind of working for yourself as well. But what were your personal strengths you could draw on to get you where you are today? Mm-hmm. I'd say follow through. That's a really big thing. It's one thing to dream it, and it's another thing to break it down and say, okay, today I'm going to do this small goal. Today I'm going to do the small things that may not be that fun, but, might be scary. Most of the time it is pretty scary, by the way, but you just have to have that faith and ambition and self-belief and remind yourself, like, why am I doing this? I'm doing this to lift other people up. I'm doing this to help other people. At least that's where I'm coming from.
Kind of know your why.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out more about Abby's why in a second. We're in the Hints and Oakley Podcast Center, and you're listening to Powered by Her. I'm Tiffany Anton, and I have Abby Johnson from To Have and to Hold with me. So your follow through. So tell me in the beginning, what was it like getting started? What obstacles did you overcome? How did you find out where to even start something like this? How did you find how to make a website?
Oh my gosh. So I am so lucky to have some amazing role models in my life. Nancy Gent is the co-founder of a mission-based jewelry line called Allen Vaughn, and she's also one of my closest friends. So she really took me under her wing, and she served as a mentor for me to try to like get this own, entrepreneurship. Here's how you start your own business. Like, here's the papers you're probably going to have to file. Why don't you try using my company for your website? Why don't you? And they also do marketing, and they also do this. And so I just kind of ran with the advice that she gave me. It's funny. This was probably in July of last year. I was working part-time for her jewelry company. We were traveling around to different festivals. We had probably an 8.5 hour, like on the road, on the way to Firefly Music Festival. She's like, it's time for you to go for it. This thing is just waiting. It's such a good idea. She's like, but you're going to need to do this. And you're going to she's a very passionate, but also very follow through, but also like, if I say I'm going to do something, then I'm going to do it, like count it done.
Yeah.
And that I'm finding is a really big part of what will set you apart if you try to do something like this. Like, you really have to follow through on the small things and the big things.
Well, and having that mentor support, I'm sure, is just to say, keep going. You're doing good. You're doing good. So do you have any personal, so professionally, she's been a great mentor. Where do you get your emotional support from? Starting a business is not for the faint of heart. Oh, so, where do you draw on that?
I can tell you one of the first people that comes to mind. I have a dear friend named Jackie Wilson. Hey, Jackie. Hey, she is one of my dearest friends. Like I said, she actually is my neighbor as well. She's my duplex mate. She is one of the most visionary women I've ever met. She's one of the best vocalists and songwriters I know. And she is a huge emotional support for me. Like, she's just kind of like that person for me to bounce ideas off of. But I'm lucky enough, like, I just have a lot of really amazing, supportive people, friends, certainly family. They're huge into supporting me. And when I'm trying to do my dad actually owned his own computer business for 14 years. And that was a whole kind of like roller coaster ride watching that and growing up in that. But
so how much has he, on the business end of things, has he been like, okay, you need to get your accountant in order, you need to know your payroll, that's
my mom. So that's like totally my mom. My mom did the bookkeeping for my dad's business growing up, and she still does like a bunch of accounting and all that stuff for what she's doing now. So they made me the most bomb spreadsheets, like the most bomb. And I'm like, I don't know how to do all this. And it's like all auto populates here. And I'm like, woo, I'm getting my spreadsheet on. So they definitely are not only like big emotional supporters, but I mean, they hooked it up on organizing in that arena.
Yeah, so. of the business skills. It's so interesting that you know music. Obviously, you've been in the music industry for years and years and years, but spreadsheets might not be the forte.
Like, I didn't go to school for business. I went to school for, like, the first time I went for vocal performance at some, like, really classical school, and then I ended up dropping out after a year, moving to Nashville. And
have you gone through any business training to figure out how to, if you want to scale this?
Yeah,
there's probably some skills, but how do you think you'll figure out how to do that?
That's exactly right. It's like, how do you figure out which company to use for a website? How do you figure out which one to use for marketing and Facebook ads and socials? And you can easily get stuck. And I was thinking about this, like, you can get stuck in indecision prison. You just have to go for it. Like, you have to be willing to fail.
Indecision prison. I've never heard that before, but that is great, because it is. It's like, I'm at this fork and I'm just going to sit here because I don't know which way to go. Mm-hmm. And it's easier just to sit here than to worry about it and fail. But you're not getting anywhere. You're at the same place. You're not learning, if you don't go. Any advice that you've had in your journey that has been truly, truly helpful that you think just really paved the way for where you're at and what you're going towards?
It's funny. I can't really think of, well, no, I can. The first thing that comes to mind, again, just to go back to Jackie, she's one of my closest friends. She has really taught me to have more of an open heart and, be flexible with, I'm a very like routine person. I feel happy in routines. I feel happy in planning, but she's like very much so more of a free spirit and, it's okay. Like, why don't you try this or be open to that? She has really given me more of a spirit of go with the flow, and you never know what'll happen if you just are open to something newer than what you can think of.
Any specific instances where you kind of went off the deviated path that you can find? Tell us about.
Easily. Oh, yeah. So our last client, Rebecca Iliff, amazing woman, by the way. She's like an amazing entrepreneur. She she was like insistent on co-writing her wedding song with us. Uh-huh. And I was like, but no, that's not quite what we do. Like, we're here for you. We want to take a load off of you. That's not quite what we do, but thank you. And then Jackie,
were you going to walk away from the situation?
No. I went ahead and did it like we do, and, came to her with the first version for revision. And she was just like, I like it, but I've always wanted to write a song. She's like, I do have experience writing and publishing and doing copy. She's like, I really feel like I can do this. Let's give it an old college try. So I went to Jackie. She was already like helping with some of the music for the wedding. And she's like, you just never know what might happen. It could turn out to be something really good. So we went back to the table with her. Rebecca brought in some amazing lyrical contributions. That in effect inspired a whole new melody, a whole new way for her to share her love with her husband. She ended up doing it live, surprising him at the reception. It was just like magic. So that's become like the main package that I'm offering people. Is the co-write experience.
Wow. Yeah. Do you find that there's people that you're like, there's no way you can't co-write? Like I can get nothing from you.
I don't see that happening. I don't really feel like it's as, I mean, yes, it can be hard to write a song for sure. But if you're surrounded by people that are going to like usher you through it and are going to help you through it. And like, you have to be like open and vulnerable when you're writing a song, but like, it'll be like a very open arms type of thing. So there's really no contribution is a bad contribution. People would surprise themselves, to see what they can bring to creating something like this.
I feel like it's a little like the painting classes where they lead you step by step. And I feel like I'm not an artist. I can't paint anything. But then I do this painting class and it's like, oh, maybe, I'm not as terrible as I thought. And maybe that's kind of what you can draw out of people through a writing process.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people don't even realize how many parts there are to a song. And here's the thing. There's no formula to making a beautiful song. There's no like, here's a book, step 1, let's clap our hands, step 2. Like, no, there's no formula. The art is created in so many different ways. And inspiration comes from and everybody has a unique story to tell. And I think that's the biggest inspiration of all. So.
What advice could you give for other women who are trying to start a business? What kind of things, what lessons have you learned along your journey, or what advice would you like to tell?
That's a good question. Be fearless. I mean,
don't get stuck in indecision prison.
Yeah, indecision prison. Don't get stuck there, man. But yeah, have faith in yourself, because I'm really finding that, the way people see you and what you're trying to do is bigger than you think you are. Like, people want to support you. Just vocalize what your aspirations are. Don't be scared to ask for help. Go for it.
Get your cheering section together and lift you up. So
yeah, but find a mentor. That's important. Find mentorship. Yeah.
And do you think that it's important to have mentors personally and professionally?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, if you only could pick one, do you think one would be more valuable than the other? One carries more weight?
I can't imagine them being separated, because I have both. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both I'm sure they're both very, very important. And, finding the right one too. I think you can get stuck with a mentor that's maybe not having your best interests at heart. And that could be, detrimental to your whole plan.
Or, I don't really think in that type of situation they would mean to do that on purpose. Maybe like what worked for their company may not work for yours. But again, at least they can offer like a solid example of the work ethic it takes to try to start your own business legitimately.
Yeah.
And just keep going back to like follow through and keeping your word.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
Yeah. You're listening to Powered by Her in the Hints and Oakley Podcast Center. I'm Tiffany Anton, and I have Abby Johnson with me today from Having to Hold. And I know you're kind of newer into this realm of owning your own business, but are there any times in the journey that you thought, I can't do this? This is a huge obstacle I can't overcome. So tell me about that.
I can't even tell you how many times I've felt that way. I mean, like, people, it is an emotional roller coaster ride. And like, I'm not one of those people that's always good at hiding their emotions. I kind of wear my heart on my sleeve and all over my face and everywhere else. Like, but you just have to push through it, man. Like, but it has been, trying to start my own business has been legit, like, one of the most emotional roller coaster rides of my life.
What keeps you going? What keeps you having that follow through?
Faith ambition.
Knowing you can do it.
Knowing you can do it. Like believing in the product, believing that this is going to make a difference.
Yeah. And believing your clients and your customers, I'm sure, are very, very important, knowing that what you're doing is so important to other people and they're relying on you.
Yeah. I mean, I want to give people that chance to, like I said, like you mentioned, like, I don't know, how would I know how to do that? I'm like, but you can. And like, I want to pull back that curtain on songwriting and on like what it takes to make a great song and give people a piece of that to keep with them forever. And it's like, I keep forgetting, like, oh yeah, this is for their wedding. Like, this is their story. Like, this is you guys. Like, every time you play this, your mind will jog through like the process and the emotion of when you first played it. And it's like your story. I mean, it's so much more than I even thought it could be. Just watching it play out.
And I'm guessing it's so much more than just, a gift for your significant other. I think that there's a part of these people who kind of doubt themselves as writers to think, I did that. I was part of that. I can do more than And can you imagine going into your wedding day thinking, I just accomplished this huge thing and I'm getting married,
Well, I mean, and there's a package, like the third package we offer, which is called the IRL, like the in real life thing. It's like a trendy thing. But I mean, we'll come and we'll do a live version of the song for you at your wedding. And you can share that with everybody else at your wedding. Like, this is your song. Like, this is a really good song. Like, this is a Nashville caliber. There's some incredible people behind this. It's not just like me. It's not just you. There's a whole team of people. Don't realize it takes a team to come up with a radio ready song.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And I'm like I said, you being the foreman of this, one little song is kind of, there's a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the fact that you have to rely and trust on a lot of people throughout this? For one customer that you have, one client, you have to deal with a lot of moving pieces and people could let you down. And how do you deal with that?
I'm lucky I've been in this town for a while. I really only call upon people that have proven their trustworthiness.
Yeah.
So
you haven't been burned so far?
I mean, not with my company. In the past, probably, life happens. Yes. Things happen.
Yeah.
Thank God Nashville is so amazing. Like, you can kick a can and hear like the best vocalist or the best guitar player like you've ever heard on like a Monday morning at 9 a.m. Like, it's like so dense, the talent in this town. So even if something did fall through or, whatever happens, there's going to be people that I can call upon no matter what.
Yeah. What encouragement would you have for people, who might get let down in a certain situation where they do have an industry where they have to rely on other people? What would you tell them?
Always have a plan B and C. You have to, at least for me, I'm always thinking about critically thinking, okay, if this happens, I'm prepared. Like, just always be prepared. Be on your toes.
Yeah. So what's next for you? You like you said, you've kind of refined your packages. Where do you see this going to have and to hold? You're offering a wedding song right now. Where do you kind of see the future?
I think that we are going to expand into everything wedding music. And quite honestly, we can at this point in time. Again, back to my friend Jackie, she has like a live music coordination, if I may, type of company called In the Moment. So a lot of times if a wedding needs like a really cool, like just live music aspect, they call upon her. And we kind of work hand in hand sometimes too when we want to do one of our songs live.
So is that kind of like the trendy thing of like, prancing down the aisle or like a groom dancing? Is that kind of what?
Well, that's kind of fun. I bet there's tons of YouTube videos, but no, like during the ceremony, there's different parts where maybe a song can be performed or at the reception or first dance or if you want to give it out to your wedding guests as a gift. A lot of these ideas and more. Yeah.
Do you ever see yourself expanding outside of the wedding realm?
Yeah. And that was the next thing. Eventually, I'm like, one thing at a time, please. But eventually, I don't see why not. It just, I want to like do this particular niche and idea justice before I decide to expand. Like, I really want to do it in a way that speaks to Nashville and supports the community and provides like an experience of excellence to, all these people that like starting to flock to Nashville for their weddings. Or
do you see yourself going outside of Nashville?
I think that's going to probably end up being our biggest market. People that are doing either destination weddings in Nashville or doing it outside, and they want to have like that piece to kind of like maybe.
There's a lot of good things between Nashville and the Upper Cumberland.
I mean, there's absolutely no reason why we can't do it satellite. We're kind of set up that way, like with the interview, and we can totally do that. Like we are planning on doing that via Skype. Like if you just kind of look at the different steps. I mean, we're set up to do this for pretty much no matter where you're located.
What do you think, if you could like pick in 10 years from now, what would have been the most fun type of wedding, or not wedding song, but just song in general that you could write for somebody? What pops in your head?
Oh my God.
Wildest dreams.
Like, okay, if I could have my choice, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it would be really funny to do like a fun original song that they could do one of those like flash dances at the reception about, like just something fun and poppy and almost like maybe Bruno Mars-ish or whatever. That would be a really fun thing. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the stripped down acoustic or like the really heartfelt, whatever it is, stuff like music and lyrics with a purpose, but like I love surprises too.
Yeah,
I think that'd be kind of. I mean, like I'm so wide open to whatever people have ideas for.
I have this vision. Recently, my work did a market event, so it was a street festival. I have this vision of us just like busting out into some sort of like shopping kind of Bruno Mars type dance thing. So
he's so sick live. Have you ever seen him? It's amazing.
No, but it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't have to all be in the wedding realm. You can do, I mean, flash dances happen in malls and, anywhere. So,
yeah, I mean, maybe one day I'll be able to wrap my head around doing more than what I'm trying to just do for now. And I don't see why not. I mean, a song is a song. It speaks to whatever situation you're writing it for.
Yeah.
Just trying to like handle what I can handle for now and do it right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Laying the groundwork is really, really important. So how will you know when you've made it?
I mean, I guess when I'm doing this full time, I'm not quite there yet.
This is a side hustle for you right now?
So it's an equal hustle with my my current day job, which is like, I'm not scared to say, people like, I don't like to be a starving artist. Like I like to be able to pay my bills. So I'm still an X-ray tech, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I went back to school the second time for X-ray technology.
Yeah.
So I would say when I'm able to cross out of that day job, obviously, and put all my time and efforts and still eat bread and drink water and wine full time, then yes, that would be the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not asking for much.
Just a little bit, to support yourself.
Little something.
Yeah. So what do you think has been the most satisfying thing about starting a business?
I mean, it's yours, all the ups and the downs and the, mistakes and the successes. It is your baby. So yeah, I guess that would be the most satisfying thing about being able to say, I own this, you know, I mean, I do.
I mean, I think it's just, I've talked to a couple moms in the past, through this podcast and we've talked a lot about those mama bear claws and being protective of your kids and seeing them grow and stuff like that. And that's, I think, especially how it is with starting a business. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of that protective mom, you cry over the successes and you cry over the failures. And
yeah, when it's low, it's low. But when it's high, man, it's
unstoppable.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming in today, Abby. I enjoyed getting to know more about your story and your business and such a unique aspect of weddings that I had never really thought about. So thanks. Abby Johnson with To Have and To Hold. How can people get a hold of you, Abby?
They can go to our website, tohaveandtoholdsongs.com, and they can fill out the contact form, or they can just email me.
Do you have social media for them to follow?
Oh, them socials I do, girl. Yes. So we're also on Instagram and Facebook. Same thing, To Have and To Hold Songs.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm Tiffany Anton from the Biz Foundry, and you are listening to Powered by Her in the Hints and Oakley Podcast Center. Thank you for listening.